to you.
Hi, I'm Chuck. I'm Jodies' dad, and I'm going to show you how I make my spicy cheese biscuits for Jodies' kitchen. I've got in my bowl here, already mixed up, I've got 2½ cups of plain flour. That's all-purpose flour. I've got 1/4 cup of cornmeal, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And I've got all my dry ingredients mixed up good together. Now I'm going to add 8 ounces of shredded cheese. Now I like to use the coarse shredded because it works a whole lot better than the fancy shred does. I'm going to mix my cheese in with my flour before I add my butter. This seems to work a whole lot better for me. Now I'm not a TV cook star, I'm just a star with my daughter. Next I'm going to add 2 sticks of butter, or a ½ pound, whichever way you want to say it. Now this is a butter knife. The reason they call it a butter knife is because you cut butter with it. And the reason I like to cut my butter is, if you cut it in chunks, it makes it a whole lot easier to mix it up. And believe me, you need all the help you can get when you go to mix this. You can throw away your spoons, you can throw away your mixers, because right here is what you're going to mix it with. And you notice how this butter knife cuts through this butter and don't cut through my hand? Isn't that fantastic? Let me try to hurry here. Now, you got to get into it with your hands. I'm going to try to get that butter covered with the flour mix first, so it don't stick to my hands too bad, but it will stick. But as you get it mixed, as your dough gets thicker, it will start coming off of your hands and not stick to them as bad. But to start with, it sticks really bad. You say, oh, what have I got into? And this is not real easy. Little, what do you call them, Jody? The petite ladies that don't have a strong hand might have to get their man to mix this up for them, because it does take some blending.
And Dad, where'd the original recipe for this come from?
The original recipes for these cheese biscuits came from my wife's mother. Now, I have altered it a little bit because it's, well, the cayenne is the biggest thing. The original recipe called for a ½ spoon of cayenne. But there's 4 things in this world that I like hot. And that's coffee, cheese biscuits, catfish nuggets, which are on Jodies' kitchen, and cheese biscuits and women. That's the 4 things I like hot. Now I've just about got this mixed, as you can see. When I completely finish with it, I'll have one big ball of dough here. Almost there.
Is that going to be kind of like the consistency, maybe of Play-Doh? Do you remember Play-Doh?
That is a real good example of that, Jody. That's about what it is like. It's about like Play-Doh. See how I told you it would, after you mixed a while, it would come off your hands? Now right there is what we're looking for. Now, I like to use a cookie press because it makes some real pretty cookies. I'm going to show you the finished product, but first you preheat an oven to 325 degrees. The original recipe called to leave them in for 12 to 15 minutes. I like to leave mine 18 minutes. It seems to get them just to the right doneness. This is a pan I have just pulled out of the oven from the first batch I made up. Now if you don't have a cookie press or don't want to use a cookie press, take your dough, roll it into little balls about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Take you a fork, mash them down flat. You've still got a pretty little biscuit. It's just not got the fancy corners on it like mine do. Thank you.